Co? Już pora, tak? Weź go to. Weź już to, bo już tak się... Może już. Już tak coś się tutaj kręci. No błagam. Bo tutaj już mi coś... Coraz ciężej to utrzymać.
Bo to kupa ciąży.
Zabierz sprzęt. Ty zostajesz. Kapur zostaje wstępnie. Tak. Hello everybody, how are you doing? We are going to start in about 5 minutes, just to give everybody the chance to join. We have some new patrons joining us today, so huge welcome to the new people. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you're going to have great creative time. And of course, feel free to ask the questions if you have any. And we are a very friendly group, so please don't be shy. I just started the chat on the second screen. Yeah, we have some newbies. So this is really nice to see that people are joining and playing with us together. So I'm going to bring new people. Exactly. We've got some new people. I'm going to bring some water, and we are going to start with the part when we use the molds and we use the resin, because I know that was part of the requested thing for the live stream today. I just realized I didn't take any water. Okay, so we've got water. Oh, don't worry, Samantha. My English is not perfect either. And it doesn't matter. Hello, guys. I'm just going to adjust the camera a little bit. So welcome to the studio. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for making this decision to visit us today. And it's great to see you all. So I wanted to say that this live class is per request. And I was asking you this week what kind of the project you would like to see, what kind of information would be interesting for you. And that is, first of all, how to use the molds together with resin, and we are going to include a lot of resin pieces in this project. Yeah, I'm very relaxed teacher, as you can see. Yeah, a lot of resin elements. And the second part is you wanted to use Impasto paints. They are part of Art Alchemy collection. So I was thinking what kind of project I can do for you so we can include something. And in the end, I decided we are going to do this notebook cover, journal cover. This is one of the books that Prima made not so long ago, but look at the quality of the chipboard. Like, this is really sturdy, almost like wooden. So very, very good for painting. You don't really have to prime it because it's nice matte finish. And we're going to play with some ideas on how to decorate it using as many ways of using impasto as possible, and then we are going to play with some extra finishing touches to maybe do some highlights. But I think this is going to be fun. I will try to show you, just general ideas on how to use the paint and what will be the advantages of that paint, because some people wonder, like, what is the difference between, for example, liquid acrylics and impasto? Like, they are two opposite sides of the scale when it comes to properties of the paint. And this is a really huge difference when you use them, because if you're planning to do some full repainting, you would like to get really matte, really opaque effect. You are not going to get it with the liquid acrylics because they're almost like glazes, almost like acrylic alcohol inks, almost, because they are concentrated color with a transparent background, and this is great when you want to get some special touches or some layering. But when it comes to full coverage, impasto is your best friend. So at this point, I am almost ready. I will just give you a moment. I can see more of our friends joining, and just in case, if you can have a look on our Facebook group, if there's maybe somebody lost, because we had a new group of people joining just in the last 3 days. I will answer that, yes. So if there's somebody lost asking the question, for example, how to get to the stream, if you can point them here, that will be very, very helpful, because sometimes I know people are a little bit lost at the very beginning, and it is very easy once you know the way that you have to go through the link, and then everything seems to be fine. So yeah, Gina joined 5 minutes ago. It was like, oh, last minute. But this way you are here perfectly on time. And before we start, Becky asked the question, and that is a good question. What is really the difference between pitch black impasto and black gesso? Well, when it comes to the formula, paint is even more pigment. So when it comes to the colors, you realize that if you compare white gesso and snow white impasto paint, this is going to be the same thing. This one contains much more of the white pigment, so it is going to cover faster, and the saturation of the color is going to be better. When it comes to the black, it's hard to see the pigment because it's so dark, but I have to proudly say that black gesso is premium quality. It's a really great pigment and very nice consistency and really smooth finish. However, impasto, when it comes to coverage, is superior. So this is higher concentration of the pigment, and this is also slightly thicker. So you're going to see the consistency is a little bit thicker as well. And that will be the biggest difference between them. In general, acrylic paints, if they're matte, they're a little bit similar to gesso. So you may feel confused, like, why should I use gesso? But in reality, they are not as sticky and they really don't work as great as primers as the gesso. Gesso, the number one purpose is to prime your surface before you're going to do anything else. So it's like isolation and matte finish. These ones, by just by accident, well, not by accident, but impastos are super matte and super thick, so they can be used instead of gesso. But so many other acrylics on the market, they're not going to be that concentrated and that matte and that opaque. So what works with impasto may not work with some other brands because they have different properties as the paint. So there was a video, I think last month when we were, December, yeah, so last month, we were comparing different kind of acrylic paints, and you could see the opacity or the finish is very different depending on the brand. So you usually buy the paints according to your personal needs. And some people who really like textures, they really like matte effects, they're going to like the finish which is in impasto, completely matte and completely covering. And some people will love more transparent, more liquid acrylic paints because this is what they do, this is what they use them for. And that is, personal preference here. And that's why it's not like every, this is like paint for completely everyone, okay? So let's start with the first part of the preparation. You were asking how to use the resin, and that is one of the mediums I really like to use. However, this is not completely harmless. You have to be careful when you use it because this is strong chemical, and it all depends, of course, on your sensitivity. Some people may be very sensitive. Like I know my friend using the same or very similar resin, she got allergy and she started to have rash on her hands and she didn't really feel well because of that. I don't have that reaction, but you have to read the labels. And when it comes to resin, it is 2-ingredient chemical, and that means you have to mix them together, and I will explain everything. I have the resin which is, I can't even say. It comes in the containers like that. This is from British company MB Fiberglass, and it's called Polycraft SG2000 PU casting resin. And this is white turning into ivory. Yes, I have cups and everything prepared there. Okay. And this one, of course, has also information on the packaging about the dangers, about things that you should be aware. So if you know that you are sensitive, please remember to use the gloves. And it's wise if you have a mask. Now it's not a problem to have a mask. You can put your mask on as well. But of course, the biggest danger is going to be when you're going to get that into your eyes or into your mouth. You shouldn't swallow the resin, absolutely. So the most important protection is if you are sensitive, make sure you have some protection gear. I usually wear the apron. You should have containers ready. You should wear the gloves, which is very, very important. And mask is recommended. However, if you are in the open space, you don't have to worry. You have to ignore the poppy, I'm sorry. Can you please show the little one so they can see what is happening? Kai! Chodź się pokaż. Chodź. Chodź. Sorry. Chodź. Czy to się zachowało porządnie chociaż?
W połowie.
This is the one who is going to make noises, right? So please ignore. He's going to go to sleep soon, and we should be fine, or not. It all depends on the day. Okay. So he is growing, and he had his supper. So he is a little bit in the playing mode. So if you hear some strange noises, this is it. Yes. Puppy kisses. So let's come back to the resin. So when it comes to protection, when it comes to taking care of it, it's always it's always wise to have the window open, or like I have big open space. This is big room, 70 square meters. So this is not like I'm sitting in a small place and I keep casting. It is just going to get dispersed in quite big areas. So this is kind of kind of safe for me. And when it comes to different products, they have different properties. That's why I always mention read your label and check what it says. Some of them may be very smelly. This one isn't. This one does really, this is a new one. So, no, from this distance is odorless. This is ingredient number 1. And you can see this was like milk liquid. This is ingredient number 2. I'm smelling from the distance. No, it's almost odorless. This one is, you will smell it a little bit once you start pouring, but it is very, very delicate smell comparing to what I've seen in the past. And I just bought it by accident because I was looking for large containers I can use for my classes. And I will later give you the link, but it is from Amazon UK, so I'm not sure if it's going to be available in other countries. However, I'm sure you can find something very similar in other countries as well. So I will just take a photo of it so you can see. This is very simple product. So let's have a look at the table now, right? And you're going to see how I do it. And I'm not an expert. My husband is much better than me because I am not so patient. Like, he is super patient and I usually try to go quickly. So my main things that I use are plastic cups, and I know plastic is not good for environment, but it's the easiest way I can just get rid of the leftovers of the resin out of the packaging. If it's something else and I can't press it, it is going to harden inside and then nothing else works. So I have plastic, and I have a plastic spoon. Then the next thing I've got, I try to have something that I can use for pushing the resin in the right position. Sometimes you just need to use something like a toothpick or some kind of the tool that you can just press it in the most detailed parts of your composition. Your casting. I remove the rings because otherwise the gloves don't fit. And of course, you should read the formula, which means how much of the resin each part you should use. And 90% of the times it is going to be equal. So this is going to be like half of the transparent liquid and half of the white liquid. However, if you're not going to be super precise, at least with this one, you are not going to have that hard time. So important protection. Yeah. Then I take one ingredient. It doesn't matter if you're starting with one or the second one. Like, this one is not even toxic. This one is, right? So you have to be careful with this other one a little bit more. Then I pour in the cup. I don't make too much because it's going to harden quickly. So let's maybe take like this. I'm trying to show you how much it is. Moment. Yeah. And then I'm adding the same amount of the second one on the top. I do it more or less, like it just doesn't have to be perfect. And then I can stir with the spoon. And now it's the time when you have to start pouring quickly. Because if it's going to stay in the cup too long, it's going to harden. So I usually start with the big elements first and the ones that have the most details. So I told you, I am not perfectionist. My husband is much better in that. So for example, the girl. Yeah. And then I try to use the spoon to make sure it goes everywhere. I usually use the cup for pouring if it's bigger element. If it is a smaller element, and look, now I'm just showing the way to the resin where to go. If it's a smaller element, I would usually use the spoon. Oh, that was too fast. So, that's why it's kind of like a race. You have to be quick with some of them. Which one is useful? This one. And then let's make some numbers. You will start feeling that the cup is getting warmer, and that means the resin is started to react and it's going to cure soon. And that means you should be pouring. All these little imperfections later, it's easy to take away. So if there's like extra over the edge, don't worry. I am not really great to show you the best technique of pouring. I am just doing that quickly. But maybe one day I will ask my husband to do it for you, so he's going to be better. I try to wait. It's getting really warm now, so I know soon I will have to finish. And you will see in the cup why. Okay, it's really warm. Flour. It's getting thicker. Okay, I can't read now, so you will have to ask questions once I finish. Look, it's getting more and more like custard now. See? And that means this is the end. I intentionally show you what happens if you put too much. That is it. It's not usable anymore. So when you, this is like cheese now, don't touch it. And this is the moment when you can smell a tiny bit of the smell out of it. So when you know that you have to pour a lot of elements, it's much better to do small amount and then pour smaller portions, because this is what happens if you are not fast enough or if you are thinking too long. The resin is going to go to waste, right? You can see how quickly this is curing here. So they're going to be done probably in the next 5 minutes. And once it is happening, of course, you should not touch it because it's going to stick to your gloves. And then once it is set, you can take it out and you can start using it. The color is going to be like this. So this one dries quickly and it usually cures completely, they say in a few hours, but you don't have to wait that long. It's much faster and quick, really. It's possible to use in 20 minutes. So that's why I use inexpensive tools, because it's never possible to work. So it's going to cure, and I will show you that in a moment. You can see was the last one I was pouring. These two are almost ready. It's hard already, look. Right? So you can see the reaction, once the reaction starts, it just goes quickly. So once you will feel, oh, this is flexible now for a moment. Once you will feel the cup is getting warmer, it means you don't have much time left, right? So please keep that in mind. This is not happening with the clear resin. Clear resin takes much longer to cure because it is a product that is supposed to be completely transparent. But because I'm using these kind of resins that are, for painting anyway, it doesn't matter. If you take it now, you can shape it, right? So if you, for example, plan to decorate a jar, now you have a chance to take it out and shape it to the right position if you would like to have them more rounded or some unusual shape. This is like the working time where you still can get these results. But it's going to be flexible for a short time, and then it's going to harden. So you have to hold like this, and this is going to be it. So that is like the advice. You can see they're almost done, and I'm letting them dry completely because look, the first ones we were pouring, they're not ready yet. Like the more of the resin you have in the cup, the faster goes the reaction. So that's why it is really important that you are not pouring too much at one time. So that is not going to be the waste. Really, that is happening quickly. So it's kind of disappointing when you have to throw it away, right? That was quick, yes. That's why I like it, because I had to pour a lot of elements for the classes. So I couldn't wait too long. Like every person was getting 7 or 10 different elements. So that would be, a lot of casting, preparing for the class, like 4 classes of 20 people. So now I will put it on the side, so it is going to cure. And then we're going to look at it in a moment, okay? So it's called Polycraft, but I know depending on the country, there are different brands. And of course, after using it, remember to wash your hands, okay? And if it spills on you, it's going to be oily. You have to immediately wash your hands with a lot of soap. So this is not a toy. You have to be extremely careful and take it away, keep it away, the children, and keep it away from your animals, so nobody is touching it by accident. And if you spill it, just pick it up with a lot of water. Don't try to pick it with your fingers. Just safety is the most important part. So give me a second, I will go and wash my hands, okay? So that was the resin that I have. I will leave it here for a moment. But the other ones work the same way. The concept is the same. Safety and doing that quite quickly. just to show you, this is clear resin. It was ice resin that I have from United States. This is completely transparent. It's lovely because you can see through it, but this is resin which is really jewelry grade product, and that means it is not fast curing at all. You have to give it about 24 hours, and of course it all depends on the thickness of the layers, and it should be completely leveled as well. So when you are doing this kind of project, sorry, my hands are wet, you have to plan it way in advance so you will have enough time for the resin to cure. But after that, this is unbreakable. So you can easily do some kind of pendants. You can make some filling for the earrings. You can pour it into really different, beautiful elements, but curing time is different. So have you got any questions about the resin? Yeah, you can see it's slowly starting to get ready. So I'm not touching that yet. I'm just helping that pop. I try not to touch it when it's still curing because, you know, it's not so great for you. I will wait until it's completely cold, but you can help a bit, like, you know, popping that up. Just so you know, because some people don't know that information, this kind of mold that Prima makes is safe for food. So if you are in the baking kind of mode, you would like to do some cake decoration, you can use it. Of course, don't use it after you were using that with resin, because no resin is food safe. Yeah, that's the problem. Oh, but I don't really know any resin that would be clear and fast curing, because if you want to keep this lovely transparent finish, you need to get this longer drying time. It is always a rule that you have to give longer time. Okay, so I'm just checking if there are any questions. Yes, so Marianne, yes, that is what I was trying to explain. That is the problem with the resin. In the meantime, we were waiting for our elements to cure. We can prepare the cover of our book. And we are going to use Impasto paints. Oh, you want white, so you want mica powder and acrylic. Yeah, that works. Hello, Glenda. Well, good morning. Yeah, UV resin dries clear, but you need UV light to cure it. I don't have that at all. Like, this is not completely white. I would say this is ivory. So ivory is almost white. So that works for me, okay? But there are some which are just a little bit more white. I don't have too many choices. So I will start with opening the wire so we can paint it. I really like that surface because this chipboard is really great quality. So you don't really have to worry about anything. Look how thick it is. The cover is ready to work on and really cool. So it's almost like HDF panel or something like a plank of wood. Easy to work on. Yeah, the color doesn't matter that much. We're covering with gesso anyway. So I really think the fact it is odorless and it is fast curing, it is really important for us. So the first thing I wanted to do today, I wanted to paint these with some impasto colors, and I wanted to combine that with some extra effects and with let's say a bit of stenciling as well. My plan is to go with kind of vintage romantic colors, and I'm going to use some Dusty Rose Impasto. I'm going to use linen color, which I put in a good place, and I don't know where it is now. I was showing you that before, and then I put it on the side. Kai. Ach, ach, kach. Chodź. This is linen. So my plan is to start with linen. Come on, come on. We have to wait for a moment because my husband has to come back. I'm sorry for the disruptions. I hope you are not in a hurry because yes. Because Mr. Kai is very active and my husband has to take control over the situation. So the plan is to use combination of the linen and the boudoir pink. And we are going to also add darker tones of chocolate brown. Show yourself from the better angle, please. And we are going to use that in several ways. So in the first step, I need to paint with linen, and I'm going to do that in a moment once my husband is back in the studio and he can take control over this little creature. And in the meantime, we can talk about resin. Yeah, he's got cute blue eyes and... Oh, okay, they were on clearance. That's good news. You could get something cheaper. Michaels has very limited range of products. I really have more of the products in the independent stores, and I think this is really important because that's great that we can keep the range basically in independent stores, because Michaels is always very unpredictable when it comes to what he's going to order, what they're going to do, and that this product selection is really not great. So you know what I mean. Yeah, look, now he's completely in his zone. He's still a very, very tiny puppy, 9 weeks, and he's a baby. So, but look, cute little paws with the spots on the bottom. I hope my husband is coming back, otherwise this little puppy of destruction is going to be everywhere. Yeah, soft puppy paws. You ready? I can leave you alone for a moment? Okay. Let's hope. Let's hope for the best. Yeah, the toe beans. Okay. Now, sorry. I told you, for the first few weeks we will have interruptions coming in the streams, because he is in need of serious control from time to time. So I'm going to paint everything with linen, and then I'm going to introduce a little bit of the darker colors. I don't want everything to be one tone, so I will be adding a little bit of the brown, dark chocolate as well. Yeah, he's super cute. If you can feel that the paint is thicker, you can always add a little bit of water, or your best friend when it comes to reviving paints, liquid fluid medium. So yeah, I know, if you have small creatures of any kind at home, they may be children or little animals, you will know that there is no excuse. Sometimes you just have to just stop whatever you are doing and be with them at this point. I will put one of the craft mats under, and come on, and we can start painting. You'll see it really covers quickly, so let's hope. And when you're painting with one color and you would like to add some extras, you can just blend it in when you are painting. You don't really have to blend it on the palette. When the paint is wet, you can just go and add some extras. One of the advantages of the Impasto, it dries quickly. So if you feel it dries too quickly, add some water on your brush, and then you're going to have a little bit more of the working time. And if something goes wrong with this paint, you can just let it dry and paint over it again. So if you don't like the color you picked or you think this is not perfectly painted, you can start over. And nobody will know that something happened, because the lighter colors are easily covering the darker colors in this range of paints. Okay, so this one is painted. I just added a little bit of the darker tones for extra, and I will start drying that one. And in the meantime, I will paint the second one. Just don't think too much. If you feel better, you can even rub it with your fingers. Some people really enjoy touching the paint, and I'm one of them. So if you'd like to introduce some extra color, you can do it like this. I'm very glad you're here, because we had a lot of interruptions, my dear. This fluffy furball wanted to be visible. Now he's in there, but we had to make a stop for a moment. Weź go obserwuj cały czas, bo spodziewam się najgorszego. Okay, so we are painting, adding tiny bit of water. You can add the other color. And then my plan is to introduce a bit of the pink into it. So it's going to be a little bit more like romantic color palette. And I would like to add some stripes to it. One of my design team members, Iveta, she makes beautiful home decor items, and she uses a lot of techniques which are based on decoupage as well. And one of the things she was doing, it was decorating boxes with paints, and she made beautiful vintage looking stripes. And I'm really tempted to do it today as well. Okay, stage 1. Okay, let's dry it. Nie, Asiu, spodziewam się, że niedawno jadł i będzie chciał wyjść. So when you start drying, you will see it turns matte quickly. And once it is matte, it's just like with gesso, you know this is ready to go. Also, what you will notice with the impastos, they turn a little bit darker after drying. So your color that you're starting with maybe a little bit lighter, and later you realize that in fact it is getting into more saturated tone. This one is almost dry as well. So today I want to experiment if I'm able to do what I wanted, to make some vintage stripes on the top of it. I hope I can. Yeah, it covers just like gesso. This is combination of two colors so far. I just added a tiny bit of the dark chocolate into linen, which is very neutral, I would say light beige color. I'm going for some vintage look, like I want to go with the vintage colors, so I guess that is going to be safe. That's like a neutral start. I just want to make sure everything is completely dry before I will go to the next layer, and I'm going to use Dusty Rose, which is a lovely dirty pink tone, and it's going to look really beautiful together with this neutral beige tones. Okay, that seems to be fine. So now I would like to make the stripes. And I've got masking tape here, so I will try. Hopefully it's not going to pick up the paint. Let's see. Oh, should be fine, but you know. With bad luck, you may have this effect that the masking tape will pick up the layer, and you are not going to be happy with this. Kaj. Tutaj chodź. Nie chodź tam. Okay, that should be nice, I guess. We're doing the same thing at the front and also on the front and on the back. Yes, exactly. Washi tape is good, and this is not very sticky masking tape, so that should be working really nicely. And in this technique, we're using that advantage of the impasto that they cover the paints which are under easily. Even if there are light colors and there are dark colors under, you still can paint over without damages, and it's going to cover in one coat, so you don't really have to worry about painting many layers. You are getting good coverage quickly. Okay, that looks like nice stripes. No worries, we all have to work, Denise. So you are absolutely excused. Sit back, relax, and check out if I'm going to pick up this paint with this masking tape or not. Let's hope not. Impasto, new one. Really pretty color. I'm taking a new brush, dipping in the water a little bit to make sure the consistency of the paint is really creamy. And let's see how successful I am. So I really want to make this nice vintage stripes. If that's not perfect, no worries. We're going to do a lot of techniques on the top anyway, so everything should be fine. If you want to make it a little bit dirty, you can mix it with other colors as well, but I think this pink is dirty enough. It's going to be a little bit like the Wim Wenders movies, like, you know, the Grand Budapest Hotel. Really vintage with muted yet sweet color palette. That's the plan. But we'll see how far we will go with this plan before I will do something grungy. Ah, come on, don't act out. No, okay. This color is really lovely. So just trying to find more space on my table. And one more. So see, if you would be doing this technique with transparent acrylic, the color will be never covering the background. It will be always transparent, so the color will be something in between your top coat and your bottom coat. And with impastos, you get that result very quickly, and the colors are fully covering. So let's hope it's going to be quite straight and without too many imperfections. Yes, this is colder version of the pink. It's Dusty Rose. There's one which is a little bit cleaner and more warm, which is called Boudoir Pink, and it would also work really well in this color combination. Let's hope for the best. Oh, you can see I missed a spot. I missed a spot here. How? Somehow. I always do it a little bit grungy. I'm not able to do it any other way because it's in my blood. Cheers. I just want to make sure everything is dry before I will start peeling off. But how pretty. Yay! Not bad at all. and no accidents. So we have our background done. It looks like paper for, you know, from the candy store. Really nice. And we've got permanent layers, and we can work on it almost like on the pattern paper. So before I'm going to do the composition on the top, I think I'm also going to use a little bit of that paint with the stencil. So it's going to mark the place where I want to put my final composition. One of these is going to be the back. So I'm going to add a little bit here and there in the corners. And the other one is going to be the front. So now I have to make that decision, which one is better for the front. I think this one is going to be the front, this one is going to be the back. Yeah, a bit hungry, but hello, Vasilis. And we can now think about adding a little bit of extra pattern. We can add the flowers. We can add the flowers. It's going to be nice and vintage. We can add the squares and we can add the circles. But maybe the flowers are going to be, the dandelions are going to be nice extra. So this is going to create another layer. And now I wouldn't like to just use the same color. So I will make a custom mix and I'm going to dab it on the top. Yeah, dandelions is always a good selection. So now we have to mix the color, which is going to be something different. So, let's start with this dusty rose, which is beautiful shade of pink, but we will make it maybe a little bit more dirty. A little bit more. You want circles? I'm going to see what happens if I'm going to add this. A little bit different tone. A little bit more of brown. So we are really sticking to very neutral color palette. Yeah, that is like, it's turning into like a dessert color. I think it's getting like cocoa with a little bit of pink in it. Let's break it into red. Oh, that is nice. Yep. So now we're going to add a little bit of the extra pattern on the top. And let's start with the back. So I will just do it maybe in the corners, so there's something happening. There won't be that much texture, it's going to be more flat, but then the cover is going to be so dimensional anyway that you don't really have to worry at all. I'm taking one of the dabbing brushes. Let's see what happens. Pretty. No imperfections, no. Nice. Very nice start. So we have that here, and then we will put the composition in the middle. So I think I'm going to put it on the top and on the bottom, so we will see the pattern a little bit. Yeah, red is going to turn it a little bit more interesting. This is very delicate pattern, so you don't have to worry that it's going to take away a lot of attention. The only important thing is once you do it, don't move the stencil. Pretty. Now I put it in the water and we will continue with the composition. Yeah, it's going to be cupcake, apparently. Something like a cupcake today. Let's dry it so I can start sticking stuff on the top. This one is going to dry quickly anyway. And of course, we are going to do much more on the top. This is just like the background paper pattern we created so far. Yeah, it looks like Laura Ashley. Once you said that, yeah, apparently that works a bit like Laura Ashley. So now we use the colors of Impasto to create the background. Now we can look at our molds to see what happens. Like these are already popping out easily. You can see the detail is really nice. It's cold already, so I know the reaction finished. Also, what I noticed, if you would like to use the resin, don't leave it for too long in the molds, because somehow this may start to damage the silicone. So after using that 150 times, you will probably see some damages as well. So please remember that it's not completely neutral when it's curing. Okay, so now we take these out. All these little imperfections we can take. Not so little imperfections because I was in a hurry. Yep. And you don't need to put anything in that mold. You just, whoops, you just pour it directly on the silicone. Yeah, I was doing a lot of mold casts for the classes, and I noticed they start to break. Yeah, the most breakable things were these ones here inside. Because they're surrounded by the resin, after some time they start to break. Yep, we have the numbers here. Okay, you have to be more careful than I am. Right? And now we can start our composition on the top, and this is going to be the part when we have to stick the elements on. I prepared some elements in advance, of course, so I will be ready. I put these resin elements in a safe place on the side, in case if I need more. And we're going to use a heavy body gel for gluing. And I only decorate the front because it's very hard to work in the book, which has dimensional elements on the front and on the back. These Roman numerals are really cool. Absolutely agree. So let's start with these ones and the heavy body gel. I have large numbers and I wanted to start with number 12. Right? In the middle. And then I've got my main character is going to be the angel sitting on the top. So this is going to be quite dimensional cover. And then of course we start adding grungy elements as well. They're going to be cogs of different kinds. Yeah, can you hear that crazy dog running in circles? Yeah, he just came back from being outside. A very exciting moment. And I've got the wings and some stars. So basically quite a romantic composition. Let's start with the first layers. If you have any questions so far, I'm very happy to answer, no problem. Yeah, puppy power. Exactly. I wish I had so much energy. But I don't. He's super cute though. No, he really wants to play. I think the biggest disappointment is Pepper doesn't want to play with him that much because she is blind, so she has no clue what he is up to. And in the first moments, she was really scared because he was coming from unexpected directions. Then he's trying to convince the cats to play, but they are a bit reluctant. Yaga is almost convinced, and they started already some cat and dog races. So it's not just puppy power, it's the power of mass destruction in the house. So luckily in the studio, everything that can be damaged is far up. Yeah, crazy run before going to sleep. Like he's going to sleep with us at 1 a.m. So he still has a lot of time to lose a little bit of that energy. But he's very good at night. He will sleep most of the night without waking up, which is awesome. Okay, so as you can see, I'm putting big blobs. And I really want to use as many elements which are molds in this project as possible, because you wanted to, you know, molds and impasto. This is our topic for today. So we are going to focus on impasto and the molds. Okay. The angel needs the wings, so we're going to put quite a lot of that as well. Especially here, because there are some empty spots we need to fill. And then the other way. Just trying to imagine where the angel is going to go. Don't worry about the imperfections, nobody will know. Soon everything will be covered in paint. Yeah, that will be cool. I just need to move it a little bit this way to the middle. I really want the angel to be in the middle. So that means I have to go a little bit down with the wing. Let's check. It's in the center. Seems like. Just This is this moment when you have to imagine your composition and trust the process. I have this. This is from one of the Prima molds, and that looks like a little tiara. So the angel will have extra tiara as well. Because we all need a crown in our life from time to time. Very cute. Okay, and then to make sure this is able to stick, I will put something here as well. Let's find a piece of chipboard or cardboard. Yes, yes, Sky Blue Hippie, yes. This is exactly the answer that Art Mix Media told you. You can pour fluid medium inside of it. I'm looking for that now. This one, fluid medium. And I just did it to this paint because this was kind of thick, but now it's even probably too liquid. I maybe overdid it a little bit. I just made space in the tube, remove the air, pour it, and let it soak in. And then I give it a massage. So it was going deeper into the paint, and it was mixing properly. Let's say this one is going to be our extra level. Somebody's frustrated. Whoops. Yes, in general, you can use this fluid for all the texture paste and for the paints. It's not so successful with the modeling paste or gel medium because the formula is slightly different, but it is going to work. This is the start of our composition. And let's now add some extras to make it a little bit more sweet and more interesting. We really want to use a lot of molds. So I have different shapes and sizes. I've got some stars, which with angel makes sense. I've got the key, the winding key. I've got more of the cogs. I have a bird. That would kind of work. Yeah, stars are nice. I think this one wants to go here. So now you probably expect I will need a star here. Oh, my dear, what are you doing there? Kai. And then I will remove this excess of the gel. So if you were watching the stream about composition, you can see that I started triangles. I kind of make triangles with circles, triangles with stars, which is focusing the attention in the middle, like on the top of our angel. Like angel is the most important person in that story. So these triangles are going to focus our eyes in the middle. I can feel there's like empty space here under the tiara. So I will make sure it's going to stick better. You know, it's nothing wrong with adding extra layers. It's always easier to do it this way instead of putting tons of the gel medium under, right? So this way you're just helping your mediums to stick. They have something to sit on. Adjusting the wings. So this is what we have so far. Now we can go to smaller bits and elements. Like this one is going to be quite cool here. We just need more of the... This one will be quite cute in here. Or maybe this shape. Yeah, this shape. Yeah, the crown is adding extra. And you know, what I really like, for me, one part of this fun is constructing my own designs out of the elements. Like I have selection of elements and I rearrange them to have the design that I like, which means I have a lot of options. So I prefer to have a lot of little bits and pieces instead of having ready designs that you can just stick and have it as it is. Because for me, it's more fun. Like I prefer to have more creative power on the project. So if I make some designs, I would be looking at the ones that are possible to alter into different versions, to change as much as possible. So that's why I keep using these elements to construct. And sometimes they're really dimensional, but not always. Okay, I think I have to switch to something smaller now. So maybe some art pebbles, some stars. I really like to put something here on the neck of the angel, almost like a necklace, because it's such a flat space. So I can play here. That I think could be seashore treasures. I usually throw away the packaging, which is bad. Don't say Prima that I do it, because I have no patience to have all of these organized. But they were multiple little sea-inspired elements on that in that mold. I think there was like a little starfish, 2 or 3 kinds of shells, and they were also some, like they were, I think, for the handles, honestly, for the handles and knobs for your cupboards, but I really like the shape. So yeah, that looks convincing. I just see the cardboard, which is annoying, so I have to push it in. All right, time for finishing touches. Look, I didn't use a single mechanical yet. I will add them now, but I'm going to only use small bits and pieces, such as pebbles, hearts. I want to put a heart here on the... a little bit too big. There's like a slimmer card. Oh, that will be perfect. And some smaller stars as well. You know, when I make the molds myself, I try to make them as versatile as possible. So I really combine bigger and smaller elements. But Prima is mostly focused on making the molds for the home decor, which means some of these designs are really large. And that means for us, we can just use some of them because otherwise they are just too much. And the small ones are quite cute because they give you the opportunity to play with the extra details and elements. Oh, that would be nice. Thank you, Carmen. You like my mix and match. Okay, stay. Something here, probably the pebble. No, not the pebble. I could feel this one was not staying, so I helped it. Not the pebble. I think this one, in fact, is okay as it is. So maybe the pebble's closer to the composition. Just a few, because it's basically almost finished. Just want to add a little bit of the air into that. Key upside down. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Becky. Thank you. That was great concept. Just need a tiny bit more of the grip here. We are a great team. Okay, something here. What I did with my pebbles, because I had a lot of leftovers after classes, I sorted them by size. So in this jar, I have small ones. And then I have another jar where I have big ones. And this way I know easily where to look for. Like, this is the jar of the big ones. And this is the jar with the small ones. Most of the projects, they require only one or two of the big ones. And then the small ones, it's easier to find a space for them. Oh, yeah, I forgot to stick that. And I think we can start drying. That will need some proper drying. Yes, the new packaging is due. We had to change the manufacturer. They didn't have the big jars anymore. And also, listening to the suggestions, now there's less of the big ones and more of the small ones. So somehow people are able to use them better. And I understand, I get it. You don't really need so many of the big ones. It was always a struggle because people were complaining like, oh, you know, I keep using the small ones and then I have the big ones left. And yeah, that's kind of a pain. Oh, cardboard. Cardboard decided to separate. No worries. We're going to use extra powers here. Behave. Yes, more of the projects will need the smaller pebbles. So that's why it is really better that we have a selection that has more of the small ones. But I agree that the jar is not the most convenient one to dig inside. So you can see that I just recycle. Like in fact, I have plenty of these, and I just have different things on the top, like diamond pebbles or hearts. I just, you know, recycle the jars so I have easy access to all of them. And it's just good to have them on hand. So I think this composition is finished. We can always add some extra details later, but for now it looks quite full. Now cleaning, if I want to get rid of some excess of the gel, especially on the top here of the angel, trying to press it down. And now, of course, it's important to dry it completely. And because it is so dimensional, it is important to dry from the distance and also from the angles. So you are not going to burn it. So far, so good. Yeah, there's always use for jars. It's just the matter that you have to take out all of the pebbles to find the ones that you really want to use that time. And that may be annoying. So now we have a moment for the questions. It's just coming together nicely. It's going to be like a sweet and grungy at the same time. I think I'm still in the mood after making the box with the birds and cogs. Sorry, my brain froze for a moment, which I made on Wednesday. And now I have to think what kind of color I want to put on it to make it stand out. So it's going to be surely like double layer painting, but I will have to do like darker red with pink or maybe brown. That is the question. Or both. I can do both. So look, I'm trying to go from different angles. thank you. That's very nice to hear. No, it's a pleasure to work for you because I don't have any pressure on me, except, of course, I'm supposed to make you all happy because this is part of the exchange. Like, you support me and I give you the inspiration and ideas and knowledge and good creative time. But we know each other so well after that time. Like, some of you are here with me since the very beginning in April. That it's very relaxing kind of creativity. I don't have to worry that, you know, people will come and say, oh my god, she's crazy one, or she is really annoying. No, like, you are here for long enough to know that I have my own kind of quirky things, and my English sometimes is funny, and sometimes we will do things in a bad arse way, like, as they say in Ireland, and things work anyway because I share the way I create at home for you. So you see the things that really happen. I drop things, I forget things sometimes, and it's okay. Now I'm cooling it down because it's very, very hot. And also, one more advice, like, if you feel that you're drying and drying and drying, and you still see that it is not solid, like this gel is not holding, it may be because it is so hot. So let it cool down a little bit, and then you can check, like, this part is very hot, and I suspect it is going to get solid in a moment, but I will have to give it like a chance. So let's think about the color I can use as a background here. Of course, it's going to be darker color, so we can create this dimensional effect. You probably remember from the previous streams, if you were able to watch them, that with the dimensional projects, it's good to have quite limited color palette, but also to work on the contrast. So we will highlight everything with lighter colors, maybe with a bit of white and so on, but to highlight something, first you have to give it stronger tone. We have shades of pink and beige as a start, so we can go two ways. We can paint it with the shades of brown and it is going to be quite dark, or we can try to make darker shade of pink and then use it as a starting color, or we can try to do both. You missed the sneak peeks. Well, I will make another, yeah, that's important information. Next Saturday, I will do secret stream where you will see all the products from the new line coming. So next weekend, it's going to be before the official release, which is coming a few days after. So you're going to see that. I think I will first make lighter tone of brown, which is a good idea. So I'm starting with linen. Oh, almost good. And I'm going to add a bit of brown. And then we're going to do this darker shade of pink, starting with Dusty Rose. And then adding a bit of red and brown or crimson. Let's see what happened after reviving the paint. Oh, okay. It's still in progress, but it is possible to take it out of the tube easily and you can finish the mixing here. So, success. So I'm making darker pink. And here we make darker beige or lighter brown, depending what you prefer to. I think we may need a little bit more of the darker brown. Come on, don't be shy. I will add this brown also to the pink to make it a little bit more dirty, because red and other pink, they were very, very clean. So it is not exactly our vintage color palette anymore. So let's add a bit of this brown as well. So now I'm playing with the tones. Come on. Oh, this is really pretty. Similar to what we have in the stencil. So now, we don't really need any gesso. And this is the great thing about Impasto. They work almost like gesso themselves. So you can use them directly on the slippery surfaces, skipping the step with the gesso. Now adding a bit of brown as well. So this is going to be not so boring. And of course they're permanent after drying. So when you are painting, you can also take a break and then, for example, clean up a little bit. So here I made not really pretty splodges. So now I can pick it up a little bit. Of course I will soften that later, but you can also, before it is permanent, pick it up with the baby wipe. Makes sense, right? Yeah, it is something about raspberry and chocolate in this project. I think we're all going to be hungry after. Raspberry and chocolate. Raspberry chocolate dessert. So as you can see, repainting goes really easily. You don't really have to worry that much about sticking, because the paint sticks really well and it's completely matte. I can feel the paint is drying, so I'm adding a bit of water. And if you think that you have too much of one color after it is dry, you can add the second one, because remember they're covering. trying to find any place that I missed, but in case if I did, no problem, we're going to add more in a moment. Yeah, hungry. They look gorgeous. This is very muted, very neutral vintage color palette. And I think it's sometimes good to try to go away from traditional grungy and try to start with a little bit more balanced palette, something more delicate, and then you can always spice it up later, so you don't have to worry that it is too sweet. Like, it is brown and pink, but in general what we want to create is like a shadow now. So I just took colors I already have on my project. They're just a little bit more mixed and darker, but they're going to get softer later as well. So, you know, we have a lot of chances to regulate how dark or how light the things are going to be, how deep the shadows are going to be. It is really up to you. That was not too pretty. Okay, so we try. Now I can see from that angle I need to add a little bit more paint, and then we will dry it. And then we're going to add a tiny bit more of the interest to it because it is very, very flat. So we will try to go and add a bit more of the adventure to this. I'm just adding a little bit more of this beige. Raspberry brownie, now. No way. That is cruel. Cruel world. Yeah, very dusty, as Ilona said, very muted and neutral. But everything is temporary. You can change your mind in the meantime, you know. Oh. For example, like this. Let's dry it. Remember about brushes in the water. Now it's going to turn a little bit darker. So we are focusing on the impasto, and I will try to minimize the other paints as much as possible. Of course. Ah, hello Terry, no worries, we were waiting for you patiently to come back. Yes, they're very, very chalky, so that is almost like you would like to touch it. It's like velvet. Before baby wipes, I have no idea. So, because you know that I like to have details nicely done, I want to add some extras now, here and there. And I'm going to add a bit more of this darker brown, and in some parts, tiny bit of that red with pink. But I'm going to do it with wet brush, and I'm going to spray it with water. So we're going to have some more adventurous shades as well. So for example, here, I'm going to go like this. And then just like we do with liquid acrylics, we can give it a chance to pop a little bit. Oh, I found a place that I really missed and it's annoying. Here. Right? Then we do the same thing with the brown. I'm taking a bit of that brown and putting that here for the darker tones. For example, in there. And the water. So our colors have a chance to move a little bit, so they're not so solid. You can do that with impasto as well, but remember that they need to be watered down. So we're going for more natural, softer look. Let's pick it up. Drips. If you like the drips, you can keep them. If you don't like the drips, you can clean them up like this. I need a tiny bit of that red on the other side. So from very, very romantic, now we touch a little bit of the grunginess here. You can see what is happening. Yeah? And now we have to dry it to make sure the colors stay in place. You can really experiment and play this way to see what happens, what kind of look you can get, and if you like it or not really. But it's not going to be so flat as just painting with the brush. So it's going to be chalky, but a little bit with the twist. Kotku, widzisz ręczniki papierowe? O, dzięki. So now we have raspberry chocolate pudding with raspberry dressing and a little bits of chocolate. Yeah, exactly. The metallic paint or the waxes will be more of the highlighting. Now we made the shadows, but we made them a little bit with the twist, so they're not so boring. And now, oh, Sorry, I just ruined part of the cover because I put my paint. Sorry. I need a baby wipe quickly. Life. Yes, so what we did the shadow part. Now the color part, like the highlights, are in the next steps. So what you can do now is to make it not as simple as it would be just with applying two paints with a brush. You can add extra effects. You can play on the grungy side. So from very organized, from the stripes and the stencil, it looks almost like the wallpaper. I told you I'm going to drag it on the grungy side soon because this is what is in my soul. I have to tell you, you are not alone. I'm dieting, so there's no chance for raspberry chocolate pudding in my life for a very long time. So I feel your pain. Now I need to make sure all the drips are going to go, so there will be no more surprises. I just found another spot that I missed, which is happening a lot. See? Here. Annoying. Let's take the darker paint. Ta-da-dum-dum. Nobody will know. Yeah, with dimensional stuff, when you just go with your flow and you make the composition, there are always white spots that may just annoy you. So it's good to check from different angles after initial drying. Most of them won't be even visible later, but if you can, get rid of them. So you want ice cream? Me too. Yeah, Neapolitan ice cream. Chocolate covered pretzels. Oh no. No mercy today. Becky, I feel for you. Without smell or taste, I would have probably a chance to ignore the food a little bit better. But it doesn't mean, of course, I would like to be in your shoes at all. I hope you are better already. Yeah, food is something different. Okay, let's let it dry. But now look, you can see the problem. This is so clean while this is so grungy. And that means we should probably do a little bit of that color on the back as well. So let's do just some splatters, so we have a chance to match it and play with the baby wipe, for example. Because we were happily painting the front and then we forgot, okay, there is a back as well. And the poor back has nothing to say because we just focused on painting the composition and so on and so on. And then what? right? This is not fair at all. So now we're going to do some smudges and splatters and drips. Traditional porfiter. Oh, okay, let's face it, I just like food. No matter what is going to be, I probably like it. Well, not everything, but I know I started that talking about chocolate and raspberries. Like now I'm punished. This is my punishment today. I should not mention food at all, and that will be much easier on me, but no, it is not. We'll do some splatters later as well, but this is just like, you know, really nice puddles of color drying and adding some grungy texture to it. Okay, we can let it dry naturally. I will pick up the color from here. And now we can start working on the highlights. Yeah, the drips are always good solution. So now, let's see. Seems to be dry enough. First thing we can do is just a little bit of the neutral white highlight, which is going to create the effect the light is coming out of it. So it's going to soften everything. And it may be just a tiny bit on the brush. If you want more transparent effect, you can use white gesso. If you want to be more white, like pure white, you can go with Snow White Impasto, which is more pigmented. So because we are mostly in the beige, I would just take gesso, because gesso is going to be more transparent. Yeah, that's true. Oh my God, Terry, this is going to be a lot. Like, I know my classes are I think the last weekend of February. So I will be doing my streams on the 13th of February for sure, and then probably something around the other date. I will also record the video so you can watch it anytime, but it's going to be quite tight. If you sign up for everything, that's going to be a big marathon. Okay, Terry, see you soon. We will be waiting for you. So, okay, look and see at my palm of my hand. This is basically dry brush. What that means, we can put a coat on the top easily, and it's going to just add like a general highlight showing the details. And if you want to do it in kind of a natural way, you only touch the tops, right? You go on the top, and we can make it warmer later. This is now just to show the details a little bit, but also once it dries, it's going to turn a little bit transparent anyway. So you don't have to worry. We will use the waxes or more of the paints. Now we are just playing with the effect, like the light is coming out of the middle and going to the outsides. It's like a soft cloud. Kind of relaxing job, to be honest. So every time when I do it, I make sure I only have a little bit on my brush, not too much. You can see how detailed now the whole thing is. I don't want to get rid of the shadows. I only want to do the highlights. Now we can see the colors. So now I can introduce a little bit of the other tone to it. Let's add tiny bit of this beige that we used, which is warmer tone. And in some parts, I'm going to break that white with this warmer linen impasto, which makes a lot of sense in our composition. So I'm still mixing the linen with the gesso, so this is not going to be as dark as this, but it is slightly warmer. Oh, I was too heavy-handed here. But no worries. Now, to make this blending of the background a little bit better and easier, we can do one trick which I like to use as well. We can do a bit of splatters. So I'm going to take medium-sized brush and I'm going to make splatters in darker and whiter colors. So it's going to add a bit of dynamic look in here. Let's start with the darker splatters. We're going to make them in the shade of pink and red. It's the color we already have. Oh, too much. That's the problem with the paints. Like, you have always too much on your brush. So this is going to be a bit of contrast as well. Make sure you have a lot of water on your brush because impastos are very, very thick. You can cover the face of the angel. I'm thinking which kind of wax I would like to use on the top of that. Okay. They're really tiny, but they're going to make a lot of difference. No, not in the gesso. It's not pure red, it's like dirty red. And we can always add more later after adding the waxes. So now it's more like playing with the colors. Can you see how nice it is? Let's dry it and then add a little bit more of that color in the background. And then we're going to do the same with the lighter tone. Like, do you think that the splatters don't go everywhere here? They do. So Denise, you are not alone. Now I'm really tempted to put a little bit of that color back into the depth deeper parts. Just a little bit for good measure. And now I need a clean brush to splatter the beige color. That could be burgundy. And now more splattering. Oh, too sticky. If it's too sticky, it makes like these long splatters. More water solves the problem. So far we only used Impasto, no other mediums, so I think I'm doing a good job. But I will be tempted to add a bit of highlight with waxes just to break the matte finish, because everything is matte, so we would need something that is going to make it a bit shiny. Look at that. Yeah, freckles. You need freckles sometimes. Let's let it dry. Stay. Oh, surprise, surprise, more of the paint. I think the drips really want to be included in this project. Of course, we can't forget about the splatters on the back, because that would be cheating. Always when you make splatters in multiple colors, it is important to dry first and then put the next color, because if you don't, there will be places where they will mix with each other and you may not like the result. So it's always safer to give it a moment of drying and then add the second layer. Yes, it's hard to see the splatters on the screen. So these are the dirty red, right? Now we do the lighter ones, beige, so linen color with water. Come on. Remember, it dries quickly, so I think Pollock would be proud. I'm channeling my inner Pollock at the moment. So, you know, feel like best-selling modern artist for a moment. Yeah, so now we have a little bit more different look. So we have more grungy version of our cover. Of course, this is permanent finish, so you don't have to worry about any smudges when it is dry. And now it's waxing time. So we can add a little bit of the darker wax in the shadows and then a little bit of the lighter wax on the top to improve the highlights. But we don't need a lot. We just want to touch here and there and see what happens. And then if there's too much of the splatter left, we can simply just reapply. And there were suggestions about the colors. So one of the suggestions that was burgundy. And let's look for the burgundy. I have so many brushes here. Burgundy. This is burgundy in still the packaging that was for samples. I will find another palette. Okay, here. That would work. And then white gold would work really well, and because it goes with the beige color. And of course, just in case, we can have some white gold, if white pearl, if it's going to be too dark some places. I think this is white gold. Graphite would be very dark, so it will be very, very black. So I will have to be careful. Let's see what burgundy is going to do. We don't need a lot. We only need to play a bit in the darker parts. Oh, that's really pretty. Right? For example, here on the wings and here on the tiara. So this metallic is going to break this matte finish. I don't want to wax everything because that would be pointless to make all that effort to paint it nicely. We just want to create a bit of the depth here. So I'm going to put it here as well. So this will be like stage 1. This was very good color because it is going with our pinks and reds. If you have some annoying place that is not accepting the color, this is the right moment to wax it. Nice. And now we can play a bit with the white gold, but now I will try to do it just with my finger. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I think we need to wait a little bit because it is too early. It is mixing with burgundy. I have to give it a moment to dry. And then we can use a tiny bit of the white pearl as well. So it's going to be very, very good. And then that will be basically it. So just the wax and impasto paints. Have you got any questions for the impasto part? Because there was a lot of impasto going. And the wax is like option to give it a little bit of the metallic finish. I'm just waiting. No, why would you mess it up? You just wait, because, you know, the wax has to get a little bit drier so this is not mixing with each other, right? Makes sense. So this is not like you made a mistake. You just started too early. And that is natural, that sometimes we are too eager to continue too quickly. And that would be it. I'm just going to enjoy the tea in the meantime. I just started using them. They are very interesting products. Is it better to use impasto with rice paper than gesso? If you want quicker coverage and more intense color, yes. Because they have more pigment, so they cover quicker. But if it's just to, you know, on the back of the rice paper to avoid the colors or the patterns being visible through, it doesn't matter, just so it's enough. You know, it just depends how, you know, they are more intense than gesso. So they're going to, oh, yeah, it's better. They're going to be giving you more of the intensity quicker. I think the birds needs a little bit of the highlight as well. I'm touching the edges as far as my finger can go. Here I can't because my... Oh, I couldn't put my finger in there, but it does work nicely. I think I will just highlight the face a little bit more, so it really is the focal point with the white, and that would be it. We only used stars and one heart as our embellishments, except the molds. So I'm quite happy with the result. See, this is going to make it lighter. Okay, yeah, it needs a little bit of the time to get to the right consistency, because, you know, it is not so quick. But a bit of massage and a bit of pressing and, you know, trying to move it, it will just, you have to push this liquid inside of the paint. So it is going to take some time. Now, last splatters. So there's also something happening on the wax, not too much. Beige splatters. And that would be end of painting. The only thing we can possibly consider is adding some beads or some extra touches like glitters, but you know, it is going to be pushing that towards very shiny. So it is not always desired for the project like that. So maybe instead of glitter, you can maybe consider a bit of the white gold micro beads. Yeah, of course, it is much more grungy because that's kind of my nature. Like, I don't really do too clean. I don't feel clean. Like, when I do clean, I feel like I'm cheating. Like, I'm not putting enough of the effects. You know, we have our own vibe, and we can always add some things. Like, I took this inspiration with the stripes. I really wanted to start with the stripes, and I absolutely love it. And I think it's absolutely matching this effect. It's like working on the pattern paper. But on the other hand, it is still this kind of composition that I would do myself, like if I wanted to make project for myself. And this is when we come, you know, when it comes to the projects, on some point you will see that sooner or later your personality is going to shine through. And you should just not fight with that. If you want to have your own voice, your own style, if your instinct is telling you you should do something, or there are some elements that make you absolutely happy when you create, You should not fight with that. I'm not sure if you've seen this box I was making, but I can tell you how it worked for me. I will show you to compare. It's completely finished now because I didn't really finish before. But I was making the box during the live stream, and my first idea, I wanted to use Prima mold, so they're happy. And this is really cool mold with the birds and the apple blossoms. And then I wanted to add the text and the crackle paste, so it has a bit of the grunginess in it. But once I put the composition on, when I was planning it, I realized that it is too boring, like too mainstream to be my project. I didn't feel comfortable with that. So soon I added the gears on the top of that, and I added the splatters. And now this box feels like, yeah, I did it. So you can see liquid acrylics with some wax and all of that. So kind of, you know, even if the original idea was much more soft, this is what happens when I just let my instinct go, and things like that. So the extra grunginess, they're just naturally happening. So if you have these urges to add something, don't fight with that. Just do it and accept it. This is part of your creative vocabulary. This is your style. This is your happy place, and you should not be ashamed. So you want some beads or not? I'm asking you because this this journal is going to be part of the giveaway tomorrow for the patrons of 25, 50 and 100 euro. So I'm asking your opinion because one of you will get it. With beads, beads, beads. Caroline, no beads. Oh. I think the voting goes for beads. So we are going to do just a little bit. So in case if Caroline is going to be the lucky winner, she's not going to be upset. Okay? Or maybe some other people who don't like beads. Beads may add some nice texture. And if you want to add that texture, make sure you're going to match the beads to the project. So white gold here is going to work really well because we have this color already. I would not go with something completely off because that would be distracting. The only colors that would work would be silvers, white gold, or red, but I don't have red beads. So we just have to go with that. I am taking soft gel, just a little bit, taking the brush. Now I'm picking the places where I can add the beads. For example, here, 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 because there's not so pretty texture. Maybe here. And when you do that, remember that with the beads, you need quite a generous amount of the soft gel, so they're going to stay there forever. Like you don't want them to come off, especially if it's a gift. So this way, when you apply quite a lot of this soft gel or the other transparent glue, they're just going to sit in it. And then I'm going to take off the excess with a brush. Yeah, that goes really well. Typing off the excess. Oh, poor bird has it on the face. Well, on the head. And I will be able to try my new Hoover because beads go everywhere. So it would be a great excuse. We had to order a new Hoover because the Roomba is not possible to use when you have a puppy. So to pick up quick things, we just got a small handy one that is cordless. So I will try it on the beads. And now we can dry it. And as I mentioned, tomorrow, sometime closer to the afternoon, in the Facebook group, we will do the giveaway for the art mates and art buddies. So I already printed your names and you will take part in the lucky drawing. So you voted for the tote bags with the print as your gift, and I'm going to add my own 2 surprises, and one of them is going to be this journal. So that goes to the new home tomorrow, and if you like it, keep your fingers crossed. I'm just trying to make sure everything comes together nicely. So now we have the front and the back matching. And we can put it together with the pages. Where are the pages? I put them in a safe place. Here. There are many pages in that book, so you can use it as your journal easily, or you can just use it as a notebook as well. It's watercolor paper, very good quality, so just, you know, I just need to think. Yeah, like this. I want to have the wires closing on the back. So hopefully... No, this is the opposite. Oh my God. Sorry. If you're getting seasick, please forgive me. Yeah, kind of this way. I was never great with designs like that. Have you got any questions for that project? Was it fun? Did you learn something new about Impasto? Because that was the request. You wanted to get ideas for the Impasto paints. So you had the idea about painting strips. Then there was the idea to use it instead of gesso. There was the idea to use it with the stencil for the nice patterns. Then there was the idea to use it for splatters. And then for a little bit for highlights, you can use it as well. And in the end, all of that together, we have the journal. I will now show you the colors that I used, so you will know exactly what was inside, okay? I only used a tiny bit of gesso, but you could replace it with the Snow White. So there was dark chocolate and linen. There was dusty rose. And then for extra accents, I used a bit of I think the internet is down for a moment. A bit of poppy red and a bit of crimson. So these were the colors which came on this cover. And then from the waxes we used mostly white gold and burgundy, which I can't find here. You have to believe me, I have the packaging of burgundy somewhere here. Let's say this was burgundy. Oh, burgundy. And there was a tiny bit of white gold just for making some highlights. And the beads with soft gel and heavy body gel. So that was the color palette of the project. Learning new things, good. You have to practice. Yeah, it is getting a bit funny now with this connection. I don't know why. I will try again. Okay, so it's, if you have, okay, because I think the comments are a bit lagged. If you have any questions, yeah, they are really lagged. So if you have any questions about the project, you can leave the comment on Patreon on the post. So I will see it for sure, and then you can have the answers to your questions. And also on Facebook group, under the post with that, you can ask the questions as well, just in case, because I can see that I am waiting for a long time, and then they're all coming in at one time. So this is funny, and I guess the internet connection tonight is not the smoothest one. So that goes tomorrow for one of the lucky winners. And I hope you like it. By tomorrow, everything will be completely dry. So all the elements will be safe to send by post. So you don't have to worry at all. I can see still, a bit of the gel may be a bit wet in some parts, but I think the result is quite cool. And I hope that inspired you to use Impasto paints a little bit more. And next weekend, we have a secret date because I'm going to make pre-premiere of my new product line for you. So you're going to see the products before anyone else. Because as far as I know, the official reveal is on the 10th of February, on 12th of February. So we are going to do it a little bit in advance. So you have a chance to use your special Patreon powers and get the knowledge before anybody else. And that is going to be here on YouTube as well. And I will schedule the live stream so you can see. Yeah, oh my God, now it went like crazy. I will have to scroll and see the comments. And thank you very much for joining. And I hope that was fun. And I hope you had a good time. And yeah, many of you said that you are not really into pink color, but that convinced you the pink may be a really good one. I think grungy version of pink is always good. This is just neutral, delicate brown with pinks and reds, and it really does the job. Gold is always good match to go with that as well. I'm happy that you're learning new things, Glenda. Did you show how to get the covers off at the beginning? Yes, I did. I was showing that. I was removing the covers. I just opened that with my fingers. Yeah, this pink you can work with. Good. So I think it must come this one to Greece. Maybe you will be lucky and maybe it will go to Greece. You never know. So tomorrow we have a date for the giveaway for patrons of 25, 50 or 100 euro. And I am going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 prizes for sure. So this and something else, I think I know what it's going to be. And next weekend we have a date to have a secret reveal of the new products. So thank you so much for watching. Remember, write the questions if you have any on Patreon or on Facebook. Here it is harder to find, but if you write here, I will find it in a few days. The most easy for me to find is on Patreon because I get notifications to my email when you post. And the next one is Facebook group, but not all of you go to Facebook. So just in case if you're wondering, I see all the messages and all the comments you put on Patreon directly to my email as well. So this is easy way of asking questions. Thank you so much for watching. It was great to have this evening with you. And yes, I think somebody needs to say goodbye as well. First of all, Yaga wants to say goodbye. She was sleeping, but she's such a good girl. She's starting to play with the puppy as well, so she wanted to say goodbye, sleepyhead. Yeah. And the young furball, as we call him. Young furball is completely unconscious. Young furball wants to say goodbye. Yeah. No, let me sleep. Tired. It was the whole day of mischief, you know. So Yaga is so good now. She is trying to figure out how this little creature operates. Like, why is not responding to her the way the cat should do. But so goodbye, everybody. We're going to see you a bit later. Next Saturday we have a date, and tomorrow we have a date in the Facebook group. Bye. Bye. Thank you so much.